Today's daf is Masechtas Nazir Daf Zayin. We are 9 lines from the bottom in the beginning of a new Mishnah. So the Mishnah says the dinim of a Nazir that he cuts his hair is Megaleach, and then he finds out that his carbon is pasul. So Zok De'eleg Mishnah, Gilach ala Zevach. A Nazir that he is makar one of his karbanos that he has to bring at the end of his naziris, and after that, after he cuts his hair, after he brings karbanos, he cuts his hair, and before he brought one carbon, and before he brought any other karbanos, the nimtza pasul comes out that carbon is pasul. One of the things that normally pasul a carbon. The halacha is teglachte psula. So the taglach he does after that hakarava of that carbon that comes out, this shows to be pasul. So his taglach is pasul because it comes out he did not do a taglach on a kosher carbon. So in Mela, the mitzvah tegeluach is pasul. Bizvachav and the other karbanos that he does afterwards for his naziris, loy alu loy, they do not go for schiv naziris. It doesn't go towards it. Why? Because he's makar at a time. He's makar those karbanos at a time where he's not right for taglachas, because he can't go and take another haircut that day, and it's like he was makar of his karbanos in the middle of his naziris. So therefore, after he waits for his hair to grow, then he could bring all his karbanos again. And so too gilach ala chatas. What happens if he was megalech after he brought the chatas, and at the time that he brought the chatas, he had in mind the makar, whoever was makar of the carbon chatas had in mind that it was shlo shma, and therefore the carbon became pasul. But achar kach, and then after his megalech hevi karbonosav, he brought the rest of his karbanis, which he has to bring at the end of his ziris, which is oil and shlamim lishman. So he did it. That he did, the way he was supposed to. Halacha is taglach de psula like the Mishnah. His taglach is pasul because since the chato is nifsal because he did it shaloi l'shma. So mela the other karbanos he brought afterwards, loy alu loy, does not go loy alu l'chavasa. It doesn't go for. He's not mekayim his chiv. Zok the Mishnah vayter. What happens if he's megaleach on the carbon oil shlama, and he did the carbon oil shlama shalei shema? So the halacha is they're kosher, but they do not help that the baal shviyat is chiv. Va'achach hevi carbon oisav, then he brings the rest of the carbon l'shman taglach de psula, because since the first karbanis, when the oila or the shlam what he did shalei shman were not oila l'chayvus and ziris, so come to the taglachas was on a carbon and dava. So in Mela, zavachav loy aloloy. In Mela, the rest of his vacham are not counted. Reb Shimon Oimer for Naziris. Reb Shimon says, however, taglachas is kosher because since he was megaleach on a kosher carbon, although it was not all loy lechayva the oil shlamim, but it's still a kosher carbon. So therefore, he says, oisei zevach hazevach loy aloloy. Just that carbon that he shechted, the shalei shma, the oil shlamim, is not counted for schiv naziris. But the shar zavachim, however, the other ones is alu. Those are alu chavasai because he's megalech kedim, because it was a kosher carbon, according to Shittas Reb Shimon. Gilach al shlashdan, and the nazir megalech on after he's makar of all three karbanos. V'nibtza echem and kosher, and one of them come out. And they found that one of them was kosher and the rest were pasul. Halachas taglach l'kshera. According to everyone, taglachas is kosher because since he's megaleach at least on one kosher carbon, the yavi shar zvachim, and the halacha is welcome those two other psulim he could bring kosher karbanos. That's the halacha. Zok the Gemara. The Gemara is going to explain Shittas Reb Shimon, this last sheet that we just saw. Amar Ba'ad Barahava. Zok the Ba'ad Barahava. Zoistem eres. From the Mishnah, it's mavur that Kasavar of Shimon holds Nazir shegilach al shalmei nedava, Nazir that's megalech on a shalmei nedava, a shlom that he bought p'teres and dava, and not for schiv naziris. Halacha is yotza his chiv taglachas, because Reb Shimon in the Mishnah is machshir a taglachas that was done after agravas shlamim, even though shlo shman, because it's still kosher. although it's Materis and Dava. My time was the Gemara. The Amar Kra. The pasuk says about Minder Parak Vav Pasuk Yitches. V'gilech Hanazar Pesach El Mayir. Look at Chasam Rishon Yisrael. And Nasan Ala Isha Shetachas Zevach Hashlamim. V'Kasal Al Shlamim. It says you should put on Al Isha Shetachas Zevach Hashlamim, but it does not say Al Shlamov, which would be mashma his Shlamim of his Naziris. The Lashon Zevach Hashlamim is mashma Stam. Any carbon Shlamim, even in Dava, and even that is kosher b'diavad. So that's where Reb Shimon learns the halacha. The Mishnah is going to discuss the dinim of a Nazir that becomes Tameh after he's makar of one of his karbanas, before he does giluach. So Zok the Mishnah, Mishan is a girl of Echad min Adamim. If a Nazir that was masham his Naziris, and he was makar of one of his karbanas, and it was nizrak the dam on the Mizbeach, Kidin, v'nitma, and he was nitma, and then that Nazir became Tameh Meis before he got a chance to Megaleach or to makar of his other karbanas. So Rebbe Lezer Omer Soiser Sakol. Rebbe Lezer says he soiser all his karbanas, none of them count, and when he becomes tar, he has to go back and bring all the karbanas, even the one that he was makar of as a kosher korban, he has to bring that one again. Chacham say when he becomes tar, he should just bring the rest of the karbanas that he never did when he was tar, he never makar of, but the one that he did b'tahira he does not have to bring again. And in addition, Zok the Rosh, that he does not have to, it's not Tzaiser and Naziris also like the Chacham, because according to Rabbanon, since he had his Riga and one of the Damim and one of the Karbanas, so he's Yatzam Machlal as Naziris, and he's good to go. He just has to bring other Karbanas once he becomes tar. Zok the Gemara. Katani, the Mishnah said, the Tana of the Mishnah said, or Belezer Emer says Sakar. Belezer holds that this Naziris becomes tummy after one carbon. For Tagalach has to Seiser everything. This is mashma. That he has to, it's Seiser all Naziris that he counted, he has to start again from scratch. So, Frekti Gemara Amar, Belezer says, Kol Achar Malois Shiva Seiser, that any Nazir becomes tummy after it's Malois, after he already counted all his days of Naziris, Shiva Seiser, it's only Seiser 7 days. Which he can't bring his karbanis from Messiah Naziris because he became Tameh and he has to become Torah in those days. But Rabbi Lezer does not say that he has to recount his whole Naziris again. Just that after 7 days he has to bring his karbanis with Torah. So why does the Mishnah say in Rabbi Lezer seemingly that it's Seiser all the Naziris? So and for the Gemara, Amar Rav, Zok Rav, my Seiser now the Gemara Rabbi Lezer. What does it mean? Rabbi Lezer said Seiser. It doesn't mean that it's Seiser all his Naziris has to count over all his days. Rather, Seiser Karbanosav. It's Seiser's Karbanis that he brought before he became Tameh. That after he becomes tar, he has to re-bring those Karbanis again. He has to bring them again. So Kum Dois, the whole machlokes in the Mishnah is only got Karbanis. According to Rabbi Lezer, since it becomes Tameh, Seiser Karbanis already brought even Mekashas. According to Chacham, it does not have to bring them again. Okay, so the Gemara Hachanam Istara, bring a riot to Rav. That according to Belezer, it's only Seiser the Karbanis and not the main Naziris. Chacham say that he has to bring the Nazir has to bring the rest of the Karbanis and become tar. So you see the Rabbanan are not saying anything L'gabi the main Naziris. They're only saying L'gabi the Karbanis. Masma the Chalek is only L'gabi the Karbanis. Shma Mino. Zok the Gemara. That's what you see from the Lashon of the Mishnah. Zok the Gemara. Umaisa Nami Miriam Atarmudas. And I think actually, you know what? I think I skipped this part of the Mishnah for some reason. Okay, so we'll see right now. So Zakti Gemara, you could also be mechiach that that's a machlokes legabe karbanos, only not legabe recounting Naziris from the second part of the Mishnah, because it says in the Mishnah, Amru lo Chacham Rabbi Lezer, Chacham told Rabbi Lezer, Maisa and Miriam Atamud is a Maisa with Miriam from a city called Tamud, and she was a Nazira. She was a woman. She was a Nazira. She nizrak aleh. Echad min adamim, that they already spritzed the dam of one of the karbanos that she bought, and the Ashlam Simei Nazirusa. Uvo v'amarlon, they told her before she could bring any other karbanos, albita shaisim sukenes, that her daughter was endangered and she was about to die. V'halcha matza shemesa, she went and she found that she died. V'amar chachamim, and she was metamer to her daughter. V'amar chacham said that dar tavishar karbanos ever sit dar. When she becomes tar, she should bring the rest of the karbanos. But however, you see from the Maisa that they did not tell her that she has to re-bring the karbanos she already brought before she was metamer to her daughter. So the Chacham is saying we have a raya to our shita. she only has to bring the remainder kabbanas that she didn't bring yet. So Zakti Gemara, so Zakti Gemara, you see over there from this Meiser, they only said something like kabbanas. Shemami, no, we see from this that the whole machlekes are belezer chamim. And is only Gabi the Shar Kabbanas, and not like Gabi recounting him in his ears. About that's Pasha, you don't have to. And the Rai is from the Maisa, Miriam Hatarmudis, that the Chacham Mechayver only bring the rest of her Kabbanas that she did not bring. Hadran Aloch Shloisha Minim. Zokt the Hilig Gemara Vait, a new parak, a new Mishnah, parak Koyin Gadol. So this parak is going to continue to discuss the dinim of Tumas Mace for a Nazir. This Mishnah is going to discuss, the parak is going to discuss what's the din when a Nazir and a Kohen, they go together and they approach a situation where they have to be Mitami to a Mace. So which one is better to be Mitami to a Mace mitzvah? That's one discussion. And then also, which we're going to discuss with which tumas is a nazir megaleach tagalachas tuma, and which tumas is not, and on which tumas is one chayiv on bias mikdash if he goes into the base of mikdash while he's tamei. So zok the Mishnah. So just a little akdama. The halacha midin Torah is that a kohen hedyet and a kohen gadol are not allowed to be Mitam L'Mesim. That's the halacha. Even a Kohen Baal Mum is not Mitam L'Mesim, and we learn that from the pasuk. It says Vayikra Parachav Aleph, pasuk Aleph. It says Emer Al Kohen and Bnei Aharon, and we learn out that all Kohanim, Rashi says, are Nikru Bnei Aharon. So therefore, we learn out that all Kohanim, even a Baal Mum, is not allowed to be Mitam Mesim. And by Kohen Gadol, it says Al Kol Nafesh Meis La Yavai La Avim La Yitama. A Kohen Gadol has a separate issue that he's also even to Kroivim. So a Nazir has a din like a Kohen Gadol. So Kohen Hedyet is allowed him time to Shivim Kroivim, to 7 Kroivim, but a Kohen Gadol is not allowed to. So a Nazir has a din like Kohen Gadol, is not allowed him time even to Shivim Kroivim. It says That's what it says about Parsha Nazir. However, if they find a mace that does not have any Kroivim, there's nobody burying a mace, which is a mace mitzvah, everybody is allowed to, even a Kohen Gadol or Nazir, or mutar mitamid to this mace mitzvah. So Zakta Mishnah, Kohen Gadol and Nazir imitam l'krivein. Kohen Gadol and a Nazir are not only mitamid to the krivein, they die. Mitam l'mace mitzvah. However, they are allowed to mitamid the mace mitzvah if they find the mace mitzvah, which is somebody which has nobody to bury them. Hayu mahalchim ederech. What happens if the Kohen Gadol and the Nazir were both traveling on a way? They were both traveling together. Umasu mace mitzvah. And they found the Meis Mitzvah. So Releza Oimer Yitama Kohen Gadol Yitama Nazir. Releza says the Kohen Gadol Shem Tama, not the Nazir. Chacham say that no, Yitama Nazir. It's better that the Nazir Shem Tama Yitama Kohen Hedyet, and the Kohen Hedyet should not be Mitame, and Kolshkin, a Kohen Gadol should not be Mitame. Okay, so apparently Chacham is saying that a Nazir is more calm. So Amar Lahem Rabbi Lezer. So Rabbi Lezer told the Chachamim, Yitama Koyin she'ene maybe Karmel Tamasai. You know why I hold that a Koyin should be Tama? Because his Kedusha is not as Chamer, because if he comes Tama Lameis, even though he's over Isser, but he's not bringing a carbon on his Tama, by Yitama Nazir she'll maybe Karmel Tamasai, but a Nazir should not be Tama because you see that a Nazir is Chayiv to bring a carbon if he's Mitami Tameis. So it's a simin to his level of Kedusha, that his level of Kedusha is higher than a Kedusha of a Kayin. Amru lo yisacham answer Lezer Yitama Nazir. No, I hold it's better still a Nazir from Tame because Kedusha is more kal. Why? Shein Kedusha say Kedusha Olam. Because a Nazir is not Kaddish his whole life. Yitame Kayin Kedusha say Kedusha Olam. And a Kayin should not be Tame because his Kedusha is Kedusha Olam. It's more Chamer than a Nazir, than that of a Nazir. And Tosfos speaks out that although there is such a thing of a Nazir Olam, but Lamaisa Stam Nazir is a Shloshim Yaim. So that's where we see that a Nazir Be'etzim his kedusha doesn't really last forever, and Mela's kedusha more kal than a kohen gadol. That's what the Mishnah means to say. Zok the Gemara. Bishloima kohen gadol v'nazir high savar kohen gadol adif high savar nazir adif. So Zok the Gemara Bishloima it's pasha kohen gadol and nazir that find the mesim mitzvah chachamim home and a kohen gadol is better. And his kedusha is higher than a nazir, and therefore it can be time of a high savar. Meleza holds nazir adif, and a nazir's kedusha is higher. So therefore, he can be time of a kohen, unlike we saw as far as what they explained in the Mishnah. And Mashuach b'shem and Mishcha, and so to a kohen gadol, it's Mashuach b'shem and Mishcha. That was the sman al yedei that he was nimshach with the Shem and Mishcha. Because that's how they would do it. They would appoint kohanim al yedei mishicha, and doing mishicha would appoint them for their position kahuna. Meruv begadim, and a kohen also that is a sman al yedei that he puts on the 8 begadim. So basically, a kohen gadol is called meruv begadim because he wears 8 begadim versus a kohen head he only wears 4. It's Rashi and Yuma Daf Hey. So Zok the Gemara Mashuach Hashem and Mishcha Adif. A kohen gadol it's Mashuach Hashem and Mishcha Adif, and kohen meruv begadim is. So the Gemara is saying that a Mashuach Hashem and Mishcha and a meruv begadim that are together, Mashuach Hashem and Mishcha is his maila is higher. And the kohen that's meruv begadim is the one that should be time of Mishcha. So why? The ilu Mashuach Hashem and Mishcha, because Mashuach Hashem and Mishcha when he does avera b'shoigig that amazes chayv of karas, the halacha is maybe par a bal kol mitzvahs. He brings a par, a chatas. So he would bring, if he does avera b'shoigig, which is chayv karas amazed, then he brings a par bal kol mitzvah. However, ve'ilu meruv begadim does not bring this specific carbon. Rather, he just brings a kispa seira in that case, like a regular carbon chatas of any person mi Yisrael that does this type of avera. And the Mefarish says that the reason why there's adifus in a kohen Mashuach Hashem and Mishcha that he brings a par and not a kispa seira, because a par is a carbon sibur, which that are the avera they're chayav chatas. So a Mashuach, which brings a par, is nidin conceivor. So it's better to ishim tama kohen meruv begadim that's nidin kiyachid, because he's bringing a kispa seira. So pshat is nidin kiyachid. So that's the idea that a par kohen and Mashuach is nidin conceivor. Zakti Gemara, and so too Mashuach sha'avar. If two people approach a mace, a Mashuach, a kohen gadol, Mashuach Hashem Mishcha, which used to be a kohen gadol, meruv begadim, and a meruv begadim also that is not in his position anymore, but he used to be at his time. He was a kohen that was meruv begadim. He was a kohen gadol of meruv begadim. The halacha is that meruv begadim adif, that the one that's meruv begadim has a bigger ma'ila, and Mashuach is the one that's in time in the mace in that case, if it's something from the past. Why? The meruv begadim avid avoda. The meruv begadim did avoda in the Beis Hamikdash. However, the Mashuach sha'avar la'avar avodu. He was not royal avoda, and therefore he's mitam el mace mitzvah. And Zok the Gemara weiter. And so too we have a kohen gadol avar machmas kiroi, that he's nitva b'tumas keri, so that's why he's a kohen gadol avar. And you have avar machmas mumai, and then you have another kohen gadol where he's not a kohen gadol anymore because he got a mum, so he's not kosher anymore. Sayzim kavua, sayzim over. Bottom line is not a royal avodah. The halacha is that avar machmas keri is better. He has a higher mile of a kohen. That it was avar machmas mumai, and the reason is the ilu hai, the kohen that saw keri chaz la'avodah l'machar. He could go back tomorrow after he gets his tahira and has harav shemesh. He could go back at the Beis Hamikdash and do avodah if the first kohen gadol dies. However, Ilu Avar Machmas Mumai, the guy, the Kohen Gadol became Baal Mum, Loi Chazi, he's not royal to do avoid in the Beis Hamikdash until he gets healed from his mum. So since the other guy can probably get him to do the avodah first, so his mila is considered greater. So therefore, the Kohen of our Machmas Mum, he's the one that's Tamil and Mitzvah. Zog the Gemara Vayter, Ibayalahu. The Gemara is going to bring a Shaila and a suffix in the case who's Matamid and Mitzvah. So the Shaila was asked to Bnei Yeshiva, what's the halacha of Mshuach Mechama? A Kohen that was Nishmach Shaman and Mishcha, and he was Nismana, he was appointed to speak to the nation before they went out to Mechama. And like it says in the Pasuk, Dvarim Perek Chaf Pasuk Beis through Dal, V'hoye Karov Chem Al Mechama V'nigash Shakayim V'dibur La'am V'amar Aleim Shema Yisrael Atim Kirim Hayom L'chama Alevechem L'yerech L'vachem L'tirov L'techbazu L'tartzim V'bnei Ki Hashem L'kechem L'hilichem L'chem L'hilachem L'chem L'vechem L'shia Eschem. And Rashi says that the Pasuk is talking about a Kohen Meshuach for this job. That's his job. Before he got to Mechama, he was appointed to speak to them. And it's called a Kohen Meshuach Mechama. And the Gemara in Hayris Daf Yomi speaks about the Kohen Meshuach Mechama. Then a lot of things he has a din like a Kohen Gadol. So the shaila is Meshuach Mechama Usgan. He's a Skan Kohen. You see, have a Meshuach Mechama that go out together. He went out together with a Skan Kohen. So he's a Kohen that they appointed that if the soul happens in the Kohen Gadol, then he comes up as a substitute. And they came to Meis Mitzvah. So Hai Minai Adav, which one has a Ma'ila Yisrael on its friend? So to Gemara, what's a shaila? Meshuach Mechama Adav, maybe he's better than the Skan, the Chazal Mechama, because he's royal Mechama. Meaning right now he's appointed. He has a job, and a lot of people are taller than him. And Al-Maisa, he's appointed for something, he's Meshuach with something. Aydoma Sagan is other if the Chazal Avodah, because technically he could do Avodah on Yom Kippur. If a psal happens in the middle of Yom Kippur to the Kohen Gadol, he gets the job. Since his Iker job is to back up for the Kohen Gadol and do actual Avodah Misa Mikdash, he has a much bigger milo than a Meshuach Mechama. Zakti Gemara. Tashma, I'll bring you right. The Tanya learned in Brisa. Aim bein Meshuach Mechama Uskan, Eloshim Hayim Mahacham Aderech Masam Beis Mitzvah, Yitam Meshuach Mechama, Yitam Askan. The Brisa says no difference between Meshuach Mechama and Askan. Only that if they're both going on a way and they approached a Meis Mitzvah, then Meshuach Mechama is Matame and not Askan. So you see clearly from the Brisa that Kohen Meshuach Mechama is the one that's Matame, and Askan is more Chashuv. Fact Gemara stira to this. Vatani, we learned in Tosefta and Hayris Parak Beis Halacha Tes Meshuach Mechama Koydem L'Skan. It says clearly that Meshuach Mechama is before, meaning he has a higher mila than a Skan. It's masha for everything. And even if they both began a Meis Mitzvah, then it's mashma the Skan V'Mitame and not the Meshuach Mechama. L'chayr it's stira and brises. Our Mazutra Le'inyan lahachyaisai Meshuach Mechama adef. Legabe din lahachyaisai Meshuach Mechama is higher in his mila. So if mapilas, if something falls on both of them, and you can only matzel one of them, you could save one of their lives. Allah is you save the life of Meshuach Mechama. My time up because Meshuach Mechama is better. The Tali Bei Rabim, because Rabim are Tali in him. They go. Everyone, the whole is going out to fight the war, and the Tali in him. In Tomal Mitzvah, however, you say if I care that the Skan is adif in his Mila, and the Meshuach Shemim Tame. Why? Because the Gabi Toma, the Skan is taka better. The Tanya B'chinim thing is Oyman Lama took the Skan the Kohen Gadol Shemir by Psul Hari Nichnas B'Shamash Tachta. So Lagabi that you see he's much more chash of the Skan because he has the whole idea of the Skan is that he goes and he's avodah, and when it comes to avodah, he can't become tummy because he has to be available as a backup to the Kohen Gadol. So Gemara is saying that they have its own, each one has its own mila and is over the other one, but it depends if it's tumah legabi tumah or legabi mechama or legabi le'inin lahachyosa. If it's a matter of keeping one of them alive, then Meshuach Mechama is more important. Because it's totally in the Rabbim. Mashing Gabi Tumah, it's a Skan. Okay.